Hold on. I think it started. Wait. Okay, it worked. Okay, perfect.
Yay, okay. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding all the shading and we're going to fix up our eye to kind of look more of a realistic horse's eye. So this is something that we need to work on, and also the shading on the jawline, and then all the equipment for the horse, where right now it kind of looks just like rectangles. Um, so that's what we're going to be working on. Also, the ears is something that we're going to be fixing. So first, what I would like to do is to actually work on the equipment, considering that it's the relatively easy part compared to the other body parts that we're going to be working on. So with that, what we're going to be doing, let me just move stuff inside. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be focusing, if it is in frame, bring it in frame, is on the rectangular side of our horse's equipment. So just making sure that there are two lines that are kind of parallel to each other. And then from there, what we're going to be doing is drawing the buckle. So it's going to be roughly just still lightly sketching. We're not committing to any of our lines. So just having a line like this. And then from there, what I would also like to do is to kind of make the strap a little bit more curved, more angled to the shape of the horse's face. So instead of these straight lines, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be making them angled. Almost behind the horse's ear. So something like this. And I'm going to be erasing the previous lines, cleaning up as we go. This is going to be relatively short, and then we will possibly start on a new drawing and sketching depending on how much time we take for our shading and our eyes. So I just roughly place a circle of where I think um, the prongs for the equipment will go. And then what I'll also do is I'll make the strap a bit thicker and then kind of curved at the end. It almost disappears into that shadow of the horse's jaw. And then from there, what I'll also do is I'll make sure this line is a little bit more straight and thicken it up. And right here, it kind of looks like it's going underneath this strap, but we're actually going to make it go above it. We're going to overlap it. So what we're going to do is kind of go into it a little bit with a curve. And then we're going to draw a circle right here to show that they're connected. And then what we're also going to do is add a third line. So there's going to be three lines right here and then a semicircle. And all of it kind of looks a little bit messy and not really neat, but we'll clean it up and make it more defined. Then what we're going to do as well after we've placed where our buckles are roughly going to be, we're going to focus on this strap. So in comparison, so looking at the both of them, this one is considerably thinner than this one. So we're going to thicken it up. We're just going to make sure our horse kind of has the proper equipment. So I'm going to roughly just make it a bit thicker. Again, not committing to any of the lines, building up on the previous line that I placed. So now it looks like there's a line in the middle running through it. We'll erase that once we're happy with the placement. So right here, the same thing that I did for these two straps, in order to connect them, I'm gonna draw another buckle, making sure this is still in frame. So roughly, I'm gonna draw one right here. And I'm just drawing a square, not doing any harsh lines. And right above it, I'm gonna draw a circle. So I've drawn right now the rectangle that represents the strap, and then a square that represents the buckle, and a circle, which kind of will draw and define to make that fold. And then from here, I'm going to continue with the same thickness of the strap, but also making sure I draw the strap bent. So what I will do is I will continue from that square, making sure I follow through, and then almost close the two ends of these lines. So I'm not making sure it's a straight line, but I'm making sure it kind of looks like it's bent into each other because it will go into the mouth. And with that, I'll just draw a semicircle. And I'll make sure this strap connects to it. And then clean up any lines I don't want to keep anymore. You might have noticed that as you are pushing your hand on the paper, some of the pencil that we already kind of drew is smudging. That kind of works in our favor because we'll need to kind of shade the horse to make sure it doesn't look flat and 2D. So if you see that there's some smudging on the paper, that you see there's some kind of lead all over the place, that's okay. We'll clean that up and make it work for our shading. So slowly the horse equipment is coming along. Now we're going to make sure it looks like horse equipment, but Lastly, we have to add one last strap. And this one would be coming from the other side of the horse's face because the horse isn't looking straight at us and it's not looking to the side. Um, it's kind of giving us that 3/4 view. So now, looking back at this piece right here, I'm making sure there are no rigid lines, that it follows the horse's um, mouth. So no sharp angles, kind of softening those lines. And then we're going to bring in that circle. So it's that line and then a bump. And just slightly drawing a line to give it that folded material look. So it should look something like this. So now with the buckle, what we're going to do is draw a square within another square, making sure it's smaller. And it looks very messy right now because I many rough lines. So kind of cleaning up. So with this, what we're going to do is now make sure it looks like it's connected. The two pieces are connected and not kind of just meeting each other. So with that, what we're going to do is create this same shape for this side. I'll give you 1 minute to fix your buckle. So again, we're going to follow the same step. We're going to make sure there's a little semicircle, so just that bump. So a slight bump and a line. And then focusing on the bottom part now, we're gonna erase that line that goes through our equipment. And for this, we're gonna clean up the circle and we're gonna draw another circle within it. And then we're gonna add some ridges to it. So for that, what we're gonna do is kind of draw two rectangles. And then we're gonna clean up those messy lines. So this is kind of finished. You still need to add some shading just in general to the overall horse. So this part of the equipment is done. We'll move on to the one where it kind of hits the side of the face. So with that, what we're going to do is fix these two pieces. With that being said, I'm just going to adjust. I'm going to bring down the horse's jaw just by a little bit, not by too much. So now there's like two lines here, and that's fine. And there's some shading here, and that's also okay. We'll fix that. I just wanted to make sure there was a little bit more space between these two parts of the face that are split up by this piece. I felt that it was too close and it made the horse's jaw look small, which is not something that we want. So I'll take my eraser and clean up as much as possible. So now what I'm gonna have to do is bring this down. Still giving it that curve and then disappearing right underneath that chin piece. So I'll give you a couple of minutes to kind of fix any of the chin pieces um, before we kind of get to finalizing the equipment. All right, so now what we did to this buckle piece, we'll do to the other. Just making sure. So in order to make it look like a buckle piece, what we'll do is continue with that harsh line. And we'll do that curve and bump and that tiny line. So what I mean by that is we're gonna draw a bump and then line. And the same goes for the other side. We're gonna draw a bump and a line. And then slightly shade it to make it look like it was curved. So with that being said, just slightly closing off that ring. So it looks something like this. And then completing that circle. And it's slowly coming along and it's starting to look more finished, which is good. You cannot rush art. It's something that kind of takes some time. So I'll give you your time to make it look like the hoop, the ring, is holding on to that piece of um, strap. Okay. With that being said, now we're gonna fix this buckle. So we have two buckles right here and then one ring here. So we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna draw a square within another square. And I see that I feel like we will have some time left over, which is good. It works in our favor. And what I have planned is something similar still on the same page with our sketching. And it will be an animal. So if we get the time, it won't be as detailed as these main projects. It will be a time filler, considering that we might have some time left over from the shading and the redrawing of the eyes and ears and hair. Okay. So with that being said, fixing the buckle. So a square within a square. And you might notice that I still have some messy lines from where I drew my previous square. Don't feel bad if you have to erase it, make some adjustments. And now what we're gonna do is we're going to remove this side, but not completely. We're gonna make it look like some pieces of the strap is coming out. So I'll show you first what I mean by that. So I will draw a curve. So inside my tiny square, I've drawn a curve, and then I'll draw another one. So here's what I mean. So draw a curve, and then draw another one. I'm not sure if that picked up on camera. So right here, it looks like I have 3 curves within my square. Hopefully that brought it closer. So now that we have these 3 curves within the buckle, what we're gonna do is we're going to clean it up. I'm going to get rid of that middle line. Do you see how the folded piece of strap now looks like? So we still kept that squared buckle, but we added the curves. And now what we're gonna do is finish up this strap piece. And we're gonna clean up the lines that we don't wanna keep. So now we've officially finished with the horse's straps. And we're gonna fix up the ears to make them look like they fit on our horse. Our ears are a nice shape. They look like horns because of the size. So what we're gonna do is just make it thicker. We're not gonna erase them. We're gonna keep them. They're placed at a nice spot where the top of the head is. And then remembering where our circle was that we first placed, and then that cone that we first placed, and the triangle that we place at top. So we're still kind of following the shape and the harmony of it. So with that, what I'm going to do is make the ear just a little bit bigger. It's going to stay in the same place. I just want to make it go out a little bit more. That's all. It was a simple fix. Just it looks like it has a cone at the top and then kind of a bulb shape that curves at the end. And then the same thing with our ear. It kind of looks like just a curvy line. What I would like to do is to bring that line outwards. Um, so it's not just a one curvy line, it kind of has a couple bumps. So a bump right here, then it goes down, then swoops back up, and then goes down again. So now they kind of look like ears our horse can hear from. Um, and less like horns. What we're going to be focusing on the last two things, and we still have 52 minutes, which is good. It works in our favor to fix the hair, fix the eyes, do the shading, and see if our horse looks complete, um, and then begin something new. So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to revisit your straps, revisit your ears, the buckles, the rings. You have some time. Um, and then I'll begin fixing the eyes and hair. I noticed that our horse kind of has this thick neck and then a big head, but not kind of a skull big enough that kind of the muscles kind of don't look like they mesh well together. So I'm just gonna make that bump over here a little thicker. It kind of looks like it's tight over here. So I'm just gonna add a little bit layer of fat, muscles, whatever it is, just to make the neck look thicker. So if you notice any of your horse's proportions kind of look a little bit off, it's okay to fix them, to go over it. So now it looks like a little better in terms of sizing. And there is area for the strap to go off, and now we have more room for the hair. So it works out in our favor. All right, so for the hair for the horse, what we're going to be doing is we're going to keep the initial pieces, but just build up on them. Give me 1 second. All right. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to make sure the hair doesn't look as flat. So what I mean by that is we're going to kind of make it curve and go up. Because right now it's very, how do I say it? Like it's almost flat against the horse's face. So what we're going to do to make it look like it's very thick, flowy, we're just going to go up. We're going to raise that band. We're not erasing any lines because we're not ready to commit to anything quite yet. And kind of make that hair drop down just a little bit above the eye. Uh, and then just very lightly kind of making that shape. I'm almost drawing a leaf in a way. And if you feel like there's too many lines and they're starting to get lost, you're always more than welcome to kind of erase things as you go. But I like to kind of build up on my previous lines to make sure I kind of don't make any proportional mistakes I already made before. And we're gonna do the same thing that we did for this side over here. We're gonna make another leaf shape and put it on this end. But I'll give you some time to fix up this band first. Just gonna erase this number. So what I'm gonna do is draw a rough leaf shape over here. So again, very lightly to make sure that we aren't committing to anything quite yet. erase over here to clean things up as I go. I'm drawing the many different layers of the hair. And again, another leaf right here. Or you can call it a V shape. And we're doing good for time. We have 44 minutes. So that's great. It gives us plenty of time for another thing to draw. Right. Give you a couple of seconds to fix up the hair. All right. So now comes the part that makes our horse realistic. It's the eyes. So I gave the horse two different eyes. You can see that one of them is realistic with some lashes and, some folds for those eyelids. And then I just gave this one a kind of cartoony um, winged line um, with some of our guidelines still in place. So what I'm going to do is I like the placement. I like where the eye is. So I'll keep the eye where it is in that center. But what I will do is I will erase this line. I'll erase this one here as well. Sorry, give me 1 second. So what I'm going to begin to do is I will erase the fold at the end, but this line will remain. And it's already looking better. Let me raise the image again. So I've just erased that little piece at the end. And now I want to make it circular. And I'll show the reference image again to kind of show what I mean. Right over here. Notice how the eye is just pitch black and it's very circular and it doesn't really have any other shape to it. And all the shading is focused in on this eye. So that's what we're going to be fixing. Right. Okay. Let's get back to business. So it's roughly circular, but what I want is to also remove this part. I removed it here, I want to remove it here, but not quite completely. So I will just make this far more bigger and circular. So I really used a heavy hand and I used the blackest heavy line on the bottom of that eye. And I'll use it on the rest of the eye once I feel comfortable with how it looks like. So I'm not going to do a heavy line at the top quite yet. Just making sure that I've erased this part as well. Now what I'll also do is just very lightly draw a corner of that eye. Very lightly. Right? For 35 minutes, it's looking good. It's looking very promising. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is show that this eye isn't just floating, it's not just placed on this face, that there is an eyelid, a bottom lid, and a top lid. So for the top lid, it's very easy. We're just going to kind of follow the curve, something like this. It almost kind of looks like a wing of some kind. Not really quite sure how to describe it, other than a curved wing. And I will repeat this at the bottom as well. Looking very good. All right, not too bad. And now comes the final part, the shading. Most of the dark spots are happening on this side of the face. So we kept this dark shading, and what we'll do is place some around here. So I will darken the eyes. And I'll leave a highlight. And what I mean by a highlight is a white part of the eye. So I'm not sure if it picks it up on camera, but this part I'll leave white and everything else I'll make black. Already looking better. Okay, and then moving past, still on the eye, we left this kind of muscly part of the face. What we're gonna do is darken it, and we're gonna bring it up. So all of our lines are still very faint in terms of where we're placing them and almost sketch-like, just to make sure there aren't any things that we, oh, excuse that, just to make sure that there aren't any, lines that we have committed to that we no longer want, but then once we erase them, they give that harsh line. We'll also add some shading right here. Almost looking like an eyebrow, just not quite. And then it's right here. So I've added some shading to the buckle. I've made it really harsh where it sits on the face. I kind of buffed it out um, and given it some shading as well over here on this side of the face, kind of where the creases and the folds occur. Um, you kind of want to make them darker and some lighter to give it that definition. All right, and with roughly 30 minutes, we're just about done, and we can start just a simple, easy time filler. All right, moving on back to the eye. Right here. All right, very simple shading, but it's making that drawing look less 2D and more three-dimensional. And just noticing any other areas where you might want to add some shading. Like again, the darkest part being at the bottom. And I feel like we are done. It looks like we put all the shading where it needs to go. And the hair looks fine, and the eyes look better than how we first started. They look more realistic and they match. But that being said, I did forget a couple of lashes. So, yeah, it looks better now. Um, So with that, if you have anything else to kind of finish up on your horse, quickly do so. I'll give like a 5 minute roughly to kind of finish up your horse, and then we'll start or the remaining 25 minutes another drawing. Very simple, very easy, and we won't continue it in our next class. It's just something to fill the empty space.
Hi, teacher. Can you move the little bit the face, the horse, little bit up,
Just
little bit up. I want to make the I make the picture.
Oh.
The a little up. The yeah. Thank you. And little bit more up. Little bit more up. More up. Hello, teacher.
hello.
Can you make the little bit up and make the picture? Not very good. Yeah, I make the more up for the mouth. I can see the mouth. Okay. Let it be more up. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Would you like the reference picture as well?
But not make the mouth. I make the mouth like that.
Oh, okay. Would you like me to go over the mouth?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Let me just grab another piece of paper to show how we did the mouth.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's see the mouth.
So what we did for the mouth
Mm.
is we drew that we drew a cone. Let me just make sure it goes side by side. We drew a cone
Okay.
and we connected it to the face. So it kind of looks like a V right now.
Okay.
And we like kept some of the rough lines. And what we did is we also placed a oval.
Yeah.
We placed an oval, and then we also placed another one, kind of keeping up just over here. And it all looks very rough, but we cleaned it up by making this kind of combined. So we drew a curve. I'll clean up the harsh parts very quickly. And what we did was something like this. So let me just so they look like two ovals. And then what we did was we made the lip where it was just a curve outwards. And then just below it, we gave that bottom lip. And then what we did, just putting this up, is we kept with the curves. So let me just erase some of the lines.
Okay.
And then we started to erase and define all the other parts of the horse. So for this, and then we drew another nose fold for the nostril. And then we erased this oval. So I will be back. I just need a drink of water, and then we'll start our quick, simple art project. So give me a minute.
Okay.
All right. Just quickly finishing up the so with the nose, it would be connected all back to that face where we had that big circle. So just making sure it was connected to the face somewhere over here. Am I good to move on to the next?
Hey, teacher, you like that?
Yeah, I like it. Do you guys want to show me your horses?
Okay. Yeah, that one is last week, then Joa, right?
Yep. And this is the
Yeah,
last.
because last week I didn't have the class. Yeah, I have the appointment, not this class. Today then Joa.
Okay, you're pretty good in catching up. Lovely. Christina, Carmine, Shirley. Yeah, thank you. It all looks good. Also, Ying.
Thank you.
All right, so here's the quick project, the just very simple. Just one last time to show you guys the horse. Something very quickly since we have 17 minutes. What we can do is just grab a piece of paper and we'll still use pencil. Just last minute tweaks, considering that we don't have time to draw another animal. What we're gonna do is actually do a 3D kind of hand illusion effect. So what I'm gonna do is trace my hand with the pencil as closely as possible. And now we have 16 minutes, so not too bad. So just roughly trace my hand. I'll give you some time to do that for yours. Right, and now with 15 minutes, if you guys have rulers or something straight, what we can do is kind of go through the hand. So first I'm gonna make sure it looks very dark. My hand is, very light at the moment. So what I'm gonna do is draw it very heavy-handed. Give me 1 second. Just following my hand. Trace my hand. Now, if you have a ruler, no problem. If you don't, that's okay. Just try to draw a straight line as possible. Or even if you have another piece of paper, what you can do is follow that line to make it straight, and making sure it goes through your hand. So I did my line a little bit thick. You're more than welcome to do it thinner if you would like. But the thinner the lines, the better the illusion. The tricks with the eyes. And kind of doing that all the way until we reach the top. So now we have roughly 12 minutes. So now I keep the straight lines outside as straight as possible, but the ones on top of my hand, what I'm going to do is curve them. So I'm not sure if that showed up. So right here, they're still connected to that first straight line I put down, but now they're slightly curved. And I'm going to repeat that for all of the lines. Let me bring something that raises this image. Okay. Curved, curve. And they're still touching that outside line. Curved. See? And erase the lines that are straight inside of your hand. We're gonna curve this, erase the straight lines inside your hands. So now it kind of looks like the hand is raised. It's kind of coming at you. Not quite yet, but we'll get there with 10 minutes left. So more curved. So for your hand, notice how it kind of looks like now, as I've erased the straight lines inside of my hand, it kind of looks like, again, it's coming up at you, like it's kind of lifting off the paper. With 7 minutes, what I'm going to show you is that If you shade the outside parts, it begins to look more raised. So slowly my hand is looking like some rubber bands are on them and the circulation is cutting them off. Or almost like bandages are on there. Are you noticing this? Okay, so I can repeat that process for all of the curvy lines. But I'll show you the next part in case you want to finish this on your own spare time. Let me just do a couple of more of the shading. So for one of the sections, what I'm going to do is actually create a design. And for my design, I want to do circles that fill in my hand. So this is one of the designs I chose, just circles. If you want to do some zigzags, some flowers, but I'm choosing to fill my hand with some circles. Next, what I want to do is I'm going to do some wavy designs. So I'm going to do a lot of waves. And with roughly 4 minutes, you kind of get the idea that I have some basic patterns that I actually would build up on. So for example, with my circles, I wouldn't just leave them like this. I would make some darker, some lighter. Or for the
Kind of doing like Zentangle.
Yeah, thank you. I'm trying to find the word, but thank you. Yeah, so like a Zentangle, kind of just filling up the hand with different shapes and patterns. So I'll leave, let me see. So I'll just write this down if you want to dive deeper into it. So I would fill this one and leave this one white. But I would fill this one and leave this one white. I'm kind of going back and forth, back and forth. But now with 3 minutes left and remaining, if you feel like you're done and you kind of have the idea of what this kind of just simple time filler is, then by all means, you're free to go. If you want to hang around for the last 3 minutes, you're also more than welcome. But yeah, we finished our horse, and next class we will be starting a more detailed project that is still sketching and drawing. But I have a quick question. Do you guys have colored pencils?
I do.
Sure we have. Sure we have.
Yes, I have some.
You have
Yeah,
some?
we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, just wondering because do you guys want to keep up with the pencil drawings, or do you want to start something else? Do you want to do some painting or watercolor or like colors, like pencil colors? Is there a certain thing you want to draw? Do you want to keep up with like animals or nature?
And
I prefer to continue with pencil because it is easier to erase.
Okay, okay. Pencil.
can I ask you?
Yes.
Farah, I would like to have some method like you did with the horse, if portrait.
With
A bird.
With pencil.
So a bird with a pencil?
With
Either one.
pencil.
I like
Yeah.
color too.
No, not bird. Portrait.
A portrait?
Yes, it's face and yeah, it's a method like method, simple method like horses.
So I'll write down. So we have pencil, and then another person said color, pencils, and then method for portraits.
Portraits. And still life, about still life, fruits and
Fruit and people.
mhm.
Yeah.
What is
Any other ideas that you guys would like to do?
Bird.
Still life, I said.
Birds, I heard.
I like the idea of us doing something other than landscapes.
Mhm. All right. Landscapes. Okay, so I just have a couple of ideas. We will continue with pencil, and then the class after that, we're gonna do some colors. So don't worry. So next class we'll continue with pencil and then do something else. And I want to go away from the chess pieces and the horses. So I'll see. Maybe we can do some still life, or maybe as long as it's something other than landscapes. I'll see what ideas we can think of. But with that being said, you guys have one last chance to take any pictures you want for the horse, and then that would be pretty much it. Then we're done. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you, Farah.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Thank
It was
you.
very
Bye.
fun. Thank you for your patience. Bye. See you next class.
Thank
See you
you.
next
Bye.
Time.